Hey guys, a little bit different video this week. We've taken the dinghy tender down off the boat, put her in the lagoon so we can run some fuel through her and get going. And one of the things we discovered was that we had not lubed up the locking mounts on the motor, and so they seized with all the salt water that was on them, and I had to end up using a pipe wrench in order to get them to turn, and I broke the handle off this one. So guess what? Boat life bust out another $1,000. So this is our lagoon. Very Florida-esque. All the houses come up to the lagoon. All the way around there, and then on the other side we have this apartment complex, which is neither well maintained or good looking in any way, and super expensive for what they are. Those apartments are pretty old, they're pretty run down, not renovated, and they're getting $1,300 or $1,400 a month out of these places. It's ridiculous.
That's for one bedroom.
Yeah, and that's a one-bedroom apartment with one bathroom. So it's kind of crazy. But we're just going to troll across the lake or lagoon and head over to the canal and probably go behind some of the houses on the canal. But while we're doing that, we found that we've had questions the whole time. Whenever we meet other cruisers out in the Caribbean, or we've met people, land-based people, and friends and other sort of people, we have some questions. So we thought while we did this, we would answer some questions. All right, guys, we've come around the point, out of the lagoon into the canals behind the houses. This is the Blue Crab restaurant. That's the one that we got, 200 yards from and then ran aground before we made it into the lagoon. Sorry, I'm trying to keep everything still. You can see they've got a dock right there that you can tie off to so you can bring your boat in and go to the Blue Crab restaurant. They've also got marine diesel, which we've got to get some before too long. So we'll take our little tender right here, little engine, and run over here and fill up some jerry cans full of diesel and go from there. And we just passed a small baby alligator over here. Excuse me, sorry, make you sick. It was bathing on the concrete, and of course, like all great YouTubers, we didn't have the camera up and rolling, so we didn't get it. Seems to be the story of our YouTube career here. All right, so questions, we said. We have all these questions that people ask us, so I'm going to pass this back over to Michelle, and she can read the first question and start with her answer.
Okay, so the first question is, tell us about how all of this came about. All of this being retirement, living on a boat. How did that happen? This was 8 to 10 years in the planning. We knew we wanted to do something different. We wanted to get out of the States. We wanted to be in the tropics, and we were looking at property, seriously looking at beachfront property in Grenada. We had about a list of about 10 places. Grenada was on the top of the list, as was Roatan and Boca del Torres. And we started looking. We should have, hindsight's 2020. We should have just pulled the pin and bought a property. But at one point, Matt's like, "Well, what about a boat?" And we went, "Yep, let's do that." So we spent about 8 years getting everything in order, doing the research, finding out what we wanted, making sure everything was ready to go, money-wise, and, well, we thought we had the kids straightened out, but not so much. And we pulled the pin.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, you have to understand, for a long time we watched YouTube sailing vlogs like everyone does. So we watched you know, originally Delos and Nahoa and Calico Skies and Sailing or Cruising Kiwis. Sailing One Life was something Michelle watched. Sailing Parlay Revival was another one. We started really originally watching the Australian couple. Started watching La Vagabond when they were on their Oceanus. Or they had a Cycles, which in the Caribbean's an Oceanus. We watched them for a long time. We watched them, and then you know, as you do, things change and you move on to someone else. But that's how we sort of got started in this life, was just watching what they were doing and seeing where they were going, and just feeding the dream, I guess. And eventually we got to the point where we were like, it's time to go.
Which parlays into the next question was, like, how long did you plan for this? Like, what did you do to make it happen?
So Michelle and I both had careers. I was working for higher education in the residential field, and Michelle was working in the construction field as a closing coordinator for a construction company. So we had careers. The kids at that stage had left the house. The last one was in college. The others were just graduating and starting their lives. And we flipped houses. I think we flipped a total of 10 houses. And we made money on those flips, and you know, we set that back and invested and did all of that sort of stuff. And then it got to the point, I guess, after the 8 to 10 years of planning and watching videos and doing everything, that we got serious about, okay, I think it was just after the pandemic, which was a whole nother thing I don't want to get into.
Too much stress.
And all the stress of that we finally said, this is the date. And we put a date on a piece of paper. We put a date, not on a piece of paper. Let me back that up. We put it on a whiteboard. We had the whiteboard hanging in the house, and we put it on a whiteboard, and we said, this is the date we're going to pull the pin.
Hell or high water.
And that's what we did. So at the beginning of Michelle was the end of 2023. In the December, she retired out of her career, and I was the end of January 2024. It was meant to be the December of 23, but we had some issues with people getting hurt, and I needed to stay on for another couple of months to help the higher education out where I was working. And so the end of January 2024, I pulled the pin and retired. And so, yeah, after 10 years, I guess, we finally did it.
So, another question we get from people who are not cruisers. That's a huge dead fish. Sorry, squirrel. How do you handle being together 24/7 on a sailboat that's 42 feet long and 13 feet wide? I mean, how do you handle that? For us, it's not a problem. We're comfortable in our relationship. We've been together for 32 years. So, and for us, silence is not a problem. We are perfectly comfortable doing our own thing or whatever and being quiet. It doesn't bother us. We work well together. We have, as we said, you know, when we say we flipped houses, we flipped houses. We did the work ourselves, pretty much all of it. And we've learned over the years what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and on projects together we work towards our strengths, which balances each other out. With that, we also learn
anyone that's been in a long-term relationship, you figure out pretty quickly how to make that relationship work. And it's a chore, it's a job, it's work. All these young kids that we see now, that even like our kids, oh, it's going to be a bed of roses and everything's going to be hunky-dory, and we've tried and tried and tried, and I think we've succeeded in telling them it's work, it's a job to keep a relationship going. And so we have plenty of downtime if we need time alone, like, hey, I need to go to the cockpit on my own, don't come up there for a while, I just need to decompress and have some time on my own. We're comfortable in saying that. You know, the other thing is she can't talk much when she's behind the boat in the tender and I'm dragging her along. I'm kidding. We have never done that. Has the thought crossed our mind? Probably yes. But no, we have a really good relationship, and it's gotten better since we retired. The stresses of life have gone away, and so our relationship has definitely taken a turn for the better since retirement.
I think so. What is the biggest thing you have learned from life on the boat?
I think all of it. It's very, it was a huge learning curve for us. I had never sailed before until my first blue water sail was after we bought the boat and the BVIs down to Trinidad. And the captain we hired was like, look, the best way to do this and the quickest way is to go out and down. So we did. And just learning that and being scared but doing it.
It was, you know, you're like, okay, I'm not dead. I can do this. Just take a deep breath and away you go. And you know, we had some interesting things happen, and you know, in the moment it was scary, but we learned to go, oh, that's how that works. Like, let's fix it. But, I mean, I don't know. What's the biggest thing you've learned, babe?
I guess the biggest learning curve I've had is learning how to captain my own boat and being mindful of the crew and the crew's safety, which of course is Michelle, and just making sure that everything's good. So sailing life isn't for everyone. There's a lot of stresses, different kinds of stresses you put yourself under, but learning that you can do it. You know, I think that's the big thing. Learning that, like, okay, we can do this.
So the next question is kind of a two-parter. Like, what's your favorite memory so far, and what was the scariest thing that's happened so far?
Well, I think the scariest thing's easy, and that's the same for both of us. And I think that was when we hit the nor'easter at the beginning of December at the old Bahama Channel.
Oh, that was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
It was coming into the night. It was about 6 o'clock at night, so it was going dark. The nor'easter had come off the American coast, and you can watch the video, Great Inagua to Key West, and you see me talk about it, where I hadn't done my planning correctly and missed the weather. And we hit 35 knots of wind consistently, sometimes gusting to 40, and 15 up to 15 foot seas, let me put it that way. Most of the time they were 9 to 12 feet, and every now and then you'd get one coming through at 15, and doing that at night.
It never happens in the daylight.
Yeah, it never happens in the daylight. Doing that at night for 10 hours.
It'll be an issue with the sail.
Yeah, issues with the sail, climbing out in the middle of all of that to fix the issue with the sail. Michelle petrified because I was out on deck. Michelle petrified because of the seas and everything.
Listen, the cockpit table and I became good friends.
So yeah, we both agree that is the scariest issue we've had. But through it, we learned that the boat can handle it, we can handle it, we knew what to do, we did everything we were meant to do, and obviously we came out on the other side.
It comes down to things happen. You get caught up in squalls, you get caught up in things that you weren't expecting, and it's like life. And we dealt with it. We figured out we were stronger than what we thought we were. And it was terrifying, but Matt was calm the whole time. And I mean, if he wasn't, he didn't let me know. So that helped a lot. And we just, you're out there, you can't just say, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm leaving, because you're in the middle of the ocean. We're stuck, and you got to get through it.
So what's the best memory you've got?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I would say probably one of my favorites is the first big sail we did on our own. And that was leaving Trinidad and going up to Grenada. Looked at everything. We decided to do it overnight so that we would come into the anchorage in St. George in that mooring field. We'd come in there about 6 or 7 in the morning, just light. We had it planned perfectly, so we thought, but we actually had to slow everything down because the current was carrying us so quickly that we would have got in at 1 o'clock at night. And you don't want to anchor in a new place at 1 o'clock in the morning, and but it was just a beautiful, calm. We motor sailed a little bit, and it was just. I think it was really sweet. It was our first one. It wasn't traumatic. Our first one on our own, and everything went, and we talked through everything, and that was just a really sweet, wonderful memory for me. I mean, all the people we met. There's just too many today. All the good food.
Yeah, if you've watched through our videos and followed our journey, you'll understand we did a lot. Like, we spent 3 months in Trinidad. We explored all of that island. We then sailed up to Grenada and spent 3 months there and explored all of that island. We met wonderful people, both North American and Caribbean people. We've made some great lifetime friends. There's a lot of memories that are very fond to me. I think probably for me, one of the fondest memories I have is watching Michelle's development as she was on the boat. Having never sailed before, to learning how to trim sails, to taking her turn at the helm on shift and being able to do it while I was sleeping.
Ducklings. Sorry.
And, just having her develop into a sailor. I think that was for me one of the fondest memories, watching her challenge herself and become a better person for it.
So sweet, thank you. So a lot of people have asked us, so what are your plans? Because we had to come back to the States for a little while, which was not in the plans, but that's life. So everybody's like, so what are your plans? What are you going to do? What's your next adventure? And that changes a lot. But it looks like we'll be stateside for about a year or so. But in that time, there's a lot of exciting family things that are happening. So some of it you guys may see, and some of it you probably won't, because it's our family. We like to.
We're private.
Yeah,
we're private people.
We like to protect our kids and our family, but there's a lot of exciting things happening there. In that, we're going to do some day trips around the area we're at, and we'll bring you guys along with that. And we'll just kind of see what happens. We're very flexible and go with the flow. Let's just see where life takes us.
So one of the things we've been doing since we've been back, and we haven't posted any videos about it, and I don't know that we're going to, is we've been looking at motor yachts, trawlers and motor yachts. There is a trip called America's Great Loop that you go up the east coast of the U.S. into the Great Lakes, from New York up the Hudson into the Great Lakes. Then you come from the Great Lakes up into Canada, back down into the U.S., back down the Mississippi to the Gulf, and that's America's Great Loop. It's about 2,600 nautical miles all the way around or something. So we've been looking at motor trawlers to do that because the draft on our sailboat and the mast height on the sailboat, we can't take it on the loop. But in looking at those motor trawlers, we've figured out we're not motor trawler people. We are sailors, and a sailboat is what we want and where we want to be. So we've sort of made the decision that we want to start looking at a catamaran. We love Why Not. She's a great boat. She's solid. She does everything we want. She's been very dependable. I've got nothing but good things to say about that boat. She's a Jeanneau 42 Sun Odyssey DS deck salon, and she's been absolutely wonderful. I would highly recommend, if anyone's looking for a boat, check that one out. If you really want to purchase one, send me a message down below and I'll sell you mine. Because she's a wonderful boat. She's just a great boat.
Beautiful.
Yeah, handles well, got no complaints. But for livability at anchor and in the marina, and generally just a little bit better layout for us, we believe a cat is what we want, and that's what we originally started looking for way back 8-10 years ago. That's what we really started looking at, was a catamaran. We ended up with a monohull, have had some great experiences in this monohull, and we'll continue to have great experiences in this monohull if we don't find the catamaran that we want.
Yeah.
So, but that's a plan for the future, is to grab a catamaran at some point and then head back to the Caribbean. We had originally planned to sail the world. We wanted to circumnavigate. I think that dream is still there somewhere in the back, but probably not quite as strong as it was early on. But
it is still there. It's we might have to not tell the kids we've started. They seem to be
more worried than we are.
Worried about it. We enjoy being out there. We enjoy the freedom it gives you. I have said for years, and the kids know this, and Matt, bless their hearts, they've been wonderful to tolerate me. I like to move. I like to explore new things, which in Matt's careers we've been able to do that. But I get restless, and I want to go and I want to see. But the older I get, I'm like, I don't like the travel part of getting somewhere. I like the comfort of my own stuff, like my own bed. So a boat gives us that freedom to travel where we want to go and still have our own bed with us and not have to worry about, that's expensive too. It just fits us.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, we're so much the boat people that when we got back, we found a marina and we lived on the boat. We're not going back to land.
Yeah. So I mean, that kind of flows into the last question that we have, is like, how do y'all like it? Like, how do you like boat life? What makes it so appealing? And I think that's it. We enjoy the freedom it gives us. We're not worried about stuff. And you find with cruisers, true cruisers, Nobody cares what boat you're on or what you have. They want to know about your experiences and how you handle this situation or that situation. It's more of a, oh yeah, we did that. You know, how did you find that? Where's the best place to anchor? You know, what did you run into here? Oh, you can't have your Starlink in that place because they geo-blocked it out. There's not an agreement, so your Starlink won't work, which is kind of sad because then they lose tourist dollars from cruisers, because that's what we live by, is having that ability to look everything up that we need. So we like the freedom that it gives us to travel, to be nomads, gypsy-esque.
Yeah, I think the other thing that it's done for us is, as Michelle said, we meet a bunch of different people and true cruisers. And I make the distinction between true cruisers and YouTube cruisers.
And credit card captains.
And credit card captains. So a credit card captain is someone that throws a credit card down and charters a boat for a week or 10 days, doesn't really know what they're doing, and causes all kinds of issues. And we met a lot of them, particularly in Granada.
We had to rescue one.
We had to rescue one. We went out at 2 o'clock in the morning because they had drug anchor and were drifting out to sea and had no clue. So we had to go out in the tender, probably, I don't know, 2 nautical miles or so across the open ocean, and bang on the hull to get them awake to let them know what was going on. So we had that experience with them. Then we met some YouTube cruisers. They're in it for content, and so the majority of them, it's all content driven. It's all drama. Bikinis with the, you know, the Brazilian bikini and all of that sort of stuff. It's you know, good for them. If that's their shtick, good for them. We're happy for them. The couple of YouTube cruisers we met, one of them we like them.
Yeah.
They're good folks. They're fun to be around. But you know, they are content driven. We're not. If you've noticed anything about our content, it's just what we're doing. We're not out there trying to grab 10 million subscribers, and would it be nice? Absolutely. If we could do that, it'd be great. We're just trying to be authentic with what's going on. Then we've met other, just what I would call regular everyday cruisers that we still keep in contact with, that are out there doing it. Some are uber wealthy, some are not uber wealthy, some are nickel and diming it all the way around, and you look at their boat and you can tell that's what they're doing. But when you sit down at the end of the day around a picnic table and have a beer or so with them and get to talking to everyone, we're all just trying to do the same thing. We just love the freedom. We want to see the world we are on, you know, and that's why we came up with the little slogan at the outro, at the end of all our videos. We just want to go out, we want to explore, we want to engage with everybody, and we want to experience everything we can experience. And you know, I think for Michelle and I, and she'll correct me, trust me if I'm wrong, she'll correct me, but I think for us, that's what we wish for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Get out there and do it. You don't have to be uber wealthy to do it. We're not. We are not uber wealthy. I'm sure our kids think we are.
We're just uber motivated.
We're just motivated to make it happen, and we'll figure out how to make it happen.
And you get part of the slogan, part of our way of thinking is you get one turn from this world and make the most of it. Enjoy it. Why am I spending money and time and energy to impress people I don't like with things I don't really want, when we can just go out and have our experiences and enjoy it? You know, we're nothing special. We're just a couple of people who have a dream, and we're doing whatever we can to make it happen. And the ride is amazing. So, you know, it's not everybody's dream to be on the water and to live on a boat and do that. But if your dream is to go out and live in the Mojave Desert or travel on land, you know, get the RV, do it. Figure out how to make it happen. Don't come up with excuses.
Right.
You know, you can't take your stuff with you. And why not have experiences while you can? It actually keeps you younger, healthier, and keeps your mind engaged. Because you really have to be on your toes to do all this. It's amazing. It's free.
Yeah, I think that's a good ending. It's free. So that's where we're going to end it this week, guys. If you've got any questions at all that you want to see us answer over the next few videos, drop them down below.
Drop them in the comments.
Drop them in the comments. Drop us a comment.
Drop us an email. There's a link.
You know, there's all sorts of stuff that we can answer. If we think it's too personal, we'll tell you.
Well, that's what we always say. You feel free to ask anything, knowing we'll feel free not to answer it.
Yeah. But outside of that, that's going to be the wrap for this week. And we're just going to continue going up these canals and looking at these houses from the backside.
Yeah, I've seen them from the front side.
And we'll catch you at the next video. Thanks for watching.